What's up, guys? This is Miles here with Boone Dog Media. In this video I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free movie review. Now this is coming a little bit later than most of the other initial reviews, but in this video I am going to be giving a lot more stats and updated ratings on how the movie is standing right now. So on Rotten Tomatoes it has a 79% and it's certified fresh, but an audience score of only 62%. Now there was a lot of controversy before this movie, so that is probably linked to the audience score. Now going on further to the IMDb rating, it has a 7.1 out of 120,000 ratings, which is still pretty low for most Marvel movies, but it has been rising ever since the initial release, and definitely when reviews are coming out before the movie's even released, it kind of skews it. And then on Google it has a 75% of people like the movie, and you see my little green check mark there, or thumbs up, because I did really enjoy the movie. I would rate it definitely in my top 7 of MCU movies. Now looking at the box office, it has killed it. This is domestic right here. It is 7th out of all MCU movies. And when you really look at it, Captain America Civil War, that's pretty much an Avengers movie. That's how it was marketed. We saw so many people in the trailer, even Spider-Man. So I don't consider that a solo movie of Captain America. So we're looking at solo superhero movies for the MCU. It ranks 3rd only behind Iron Man 3 and Black Panther. And then looking at the worldwide openings right now, it ranks 6th worldwide of all-time openings. I mean, that is ridiculous. We see Infinity War is 1st, and it is 2nd in the MCU. That is Captain Marvel, with a 303.3 million opening overseas. That's incredible. So now actually jumping into my review, I'm going to first go over the things that I really loved about the movie. Again, I said I think it's around my top 7. So the humor was really good. Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson, amazing jobs. It was visually appealing. It stands as its own movie. And of course, Goose the Cat Who Stole the Show. Now I'm going to go over each one of these one by one. Now for the humor part of it, it's kind of self-explanatory. I didn't expect it to be this funny or have that many jokes in it compared to a Guardians of the Galaxy film or the recent Thor Ragnarok. But the directors definitely went that way. I knew it would have some jokes because every MCU movie has some sense of humor in it. But this was really, like, I could compare it to a Guardians of the Galaxy film. Not as funny, but for only Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson and Goose the Cat and a handful of other characters, they did a really good job. And again, I did not expect it to be this funny compared to the other movies. I thought this would be a more serious tone since it was the movie leading up to Infinity War. I expected to go hardcore, but they had a good mix like most Marvel movies we see. So now moving on to the actual actors and actresses themselves. Brie Larson did an amazing job. There were a lot of questions about should she be the next Captain Marvel and why she shouldn't and things she was saying. And I made up my mind about 2 weeks before the movie. I didn't really care about what anybody was saying. I'm not going to have a political view on the movie. I'm going to go and I'm going to watch it, and if it's a good movie, I'm going to like it. And I really liked it. Her and Samuel Jackson had a really good chemistry on screen. It was a really good duo. I wasn't sure how that was going to work. I knew they're both going to do great jobs on their own end, but together they worked really well together, and hopefully we can see that in the future in the MCU. Samuel Jackson, they made him look very young. Samuel Jackson, not too much I can really say. He did his thing. It was really funny. It's really good. As you've seen on Twitter, there's some references to some of his older movies with the way the shots are. You should definitely check that out. I might leave a link below in the description of that. But overall, they had a really good chemistry together. Now moving on to the visuals. It was very visually appealing. Now, this isn't really a spoiler, but it's Captain Marvel. So some of the movie is set in space. But it wasn't like a Guardians of the Galaxy or a Thor Ragnarok. So they didn't have that much time to really work with the whole cool, bright visuals. But what time they did have, it looked really good. And the CGI was really good. It was definitely better than what I believe the Black Panther was. Even though that won awards over its visuals. I know, crazy, right? But I think the visuals hit right on point. And then another point I'm moving on to is this could work as a standalone Marvel movie. You wouldn't have to watch a certain amount of movies to understand this movie. You could pick it up or play it and you could understand exactly what's going on. It's not confusing. There are, of course, other characters that are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that you wouldn't understand that they're hinting to, but it doesn't really matter because the plot does not rely on those characters at all. They're just kind of little nods to us MCU fans that, hey, oh, look, that's so-and-so. I'm not going to say it's spoiler-free, but that's so-and-so. So you got a handful of hints in there that MCU fans will really enjoy. But then again, this is your first Marvel movie. You're going to be able to understand the plot from point A to point B and not get confused. So now moving on to probably the best part of the movie. Not saying it's a bad movie, but just saying this was a really hot point, was Goose the Cat. I saw him in the trailers, and I saw that they were selling little toys of him, and I was like, alright, I guess it's just a little joke thing. But he actually had a really part in the second half of the movie. He plays in a massive amount, and he's there a lot, and it's just kind of fun to see a cat having that much attention in the movie and getting that many laughs in the theater. So I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but he actually does get a lot of screen time. It's not just a little toy they were selling or a little hint in the trailer. You're going to see Goose the Cat a good amount, and hopefully in Captain Marvel 2 he'll make an appearance, or really in Endgame. It would be amazing if he was in there. And again, if you watch a movie, you're going to like Goose the Cat. There's like a 99.9% chance. So now moving on to things that I didn't really like, or they weren't great and that could be improved on. And I just have two big points, and that's the plot and the action scenes. Now I know the plot, yeah, that is a pretty large point. You can dive down and break it down. But I feel like they were in a bind because Marvel is becoming so connected now that after making Infinity War, you have to see the past movies to understand. So now they're making a movie that they're trying to make a standalone and tie into everything. It's kind of like back to the drawing board. You got to kind of start from scratch and build your own project, which again, I'm not saying they can't do it because they did a well job in this movie, but it could have been a little bit better. The way the plot is structured and the movie is structured, it's different. So once you watch it, you'll get what I'm saying. It's different. It's not just a regular from point A to point B. You are going to see some things in different orders. So that will probably throw off a handful of people. I enjoyed watching it that way. It was actually kind of good to not watch a movie that's just straightforward. But then again, I feel like they could have done more with the plot. And again, I'll cover some of this in our spoiler review, which should be coming out in less than a week. But I'll cover what I think they could have improved on in the plot in that video. Now, with the action scenes, I feel like there was enough action in action itself. There was enough tense moments. But actually, we're talking fist to fist. I didn't really see enough of that to my liking, and maybe I'm just spoiled and everybody else is after watching Infinity War, and we're getting all these cool battles and all these fight scenes. But there wasn't as much fighting as I thought there would be, and a lot of the fighting I did see, it was kind of like, wow, bam, like Captain Marvel can do this. No challenge. And Captain Marvel can do that. There's no challenge. Nobody can really match Captain Marvel. And it's cool to see, and she's this powerful. I'm like, I can't wait to see what she does in Endgame. But then again, I'm like, wow, I kind of want to see a good challenge for her this movie. And again, this is kind of a Captain Marvel coming to light movie. She's discovering herself and everything inside of her, and just how to use her powers. So it's not like Captain Marvel 3. This isn't a great challenge for her. And as an introductory movie, you're definitely going to see less action on average, most likely, because you're just getting to know the character themselves better, and you don't get to know characters just by them beating up bad guys the whole movie. So that being said, those are my positives and my negatives about this movie, my pros and my cons. So overall, I would probably rank this movie around 5th or 6th on my favorite Marvel movies. Of course, I have Infinity War, both Guardians of the Galaxy up there, and also have Thor Ragnarok up there. And then it's kind of rocky, I can go with a handful of different movies. I can go with Iron Man 3, or I can go with this, or I can go with Civil War, So there's just a handful of movies right there in that almost top 5 category. So this one could very well be maybe my 5th favorite Marvel movie. And I'm going to give it a rating of 8.3 or 83, however you want to call it. It could, of course, be improved on, which we're going to go over in our next video. But I think they did a good job. And definitely the box office shows they did a pretty good job. This is actually the biggest opening weekend for a movie led by a female actress. So that's just amazing for Marvel. They're doing incredible things, and I can't wait for Infinity War. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a comment on what you think about this movie, and subscribe so you can see our next video that will be spoilers in it, and we'll go over what parts of the plot I think could be improved. So thanks for watching.